Here we go, TK. Here we go. Another episode of the Canadian Real Estate Show.
Today's a big one, Darryl.
I am so excited.
My God. We've built
I am so excited.
a fan base.
Good fans.
I believe specifically for today's episode.
Specifically, like everything has culminated
for the last
right
3 years
now,
has led us to
built up to
today's
right here.
show. Absolutely. The
in a world that's upside down, TK, in a world that's backwards, in a world where good is bad and bad is good, and the nerds rule the world and are billionaires, where conspiracy theorists become revered as insightful forecasters of the future, TK. Prophets nonetheless. In a world like this, do we want to live in this world, TK? I don't know, but we do.
It's reality. We're here. There's no turning back. We can't go backwards even if we tried. So
this guy's opened up a lot of eyes in his lifetime, I'm sure.
Absolutely. There's definitely things that he said that are out there.
There are things that he has said that are out there.
But there's things that he said that are today reality and fact. Yeah. It's amazing how that works, right? When people, it's almost like, if you follow the narrative of what everybody else is saying, chances are you're wrong. Chances are you're going to find out later on that what you were saying wasn't exactly what you should have been saying. But the courage to go out there and talk the opposing arguments against the narrative, the cojones you need to have to be able to continue to put your name and reputation on the line, to be able to teach the people what they need to see and what they need to hear, because it is true, even though everyone's telling you
you're an idiot.
It's you that needs to change.
You're an idiot. How could that be?
This is the reality of the world today, Darryl.
This is a brave man here. This is a brave man.
We've seen this many times in many different areas, right? Many different worldly events. And of course, in the last few years, the global pandemic.
The global pandemic. TK, you just got us demonetized right off the bat, bro.
Good.
But that's okay. We don't care about money here. This is the Canadian Real Estate
YouTube's
show.
not paying me enough to keep my mouth shut.
Care about money. That's for damn sure. If we cared about money, we wouldn't be doing this every week. That's for sure. So, hey, by the way, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button right there, please. Yep.
We appreciate it.
We do.
We got a couple new Apple podcast reviews.
Comments.
So you guys are awesome. Thank you. We appreciate those reviews. It really helps us reach the people who are not on YouTube.
You pushed us up like 100 positions on Apple, just 2 comments. So keep them coming, please. Because like by next month, we could be #1 on Apple.
And Darryl, we've hit a milestone.
TK.
We hit a milestone this week.
How exciting was that?
Hitting 1,000 subscribers was exciting.
It's pretty good.
Hitting 2,000 subscribers was okay.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I don't really remember when that happened.
Yeah.
But I know it did happen.
It happened.
But hitting 3,000 subscribers this week was a good feeling.
It's good. And it was thanks to 3,000 of you. But
yeah,
the truth is like way more than 3,000 people watch it. So do us a favor, like press subscribe, press like, send it to somebody else. Check out the Canadian Real Estate Show Clips channel, because that's pretty cool. Limited doses of TK and I, if you speak English correctly, and I.
And personal.
If you want to get a little crazy, check out the Frankfurt Report on Twitter. And are we announcing this other thing now? No. Are we ready for that? TK's got a surprise, no? We'll announce that next week. TK's got a little surprise coming.
Yeah.
So anyways, without further ado, TK, is it time?
It's time.
Is it time?
There's no better time.
There is no better time.
We can't possibly.
Now.
Hey guys, this is Mike Martins for the Canadian Real Estate Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and be part of the channel. And don't forget to click the bell for notifications when something comes up. I have spoken.
Do a better introduction than that.
No, and I mean, he's been waiting and ready in the green room for a little while. He's been excited. And it's early for him. Well, it's not that early today. It's like normal people wake up time, no? 8:30, 7:30 there. What time is it there? There he is.
Hey,
Whoa, look
Hold
at
on
the
a sec. I didn't
background.
know that we got Andrew Tate on the show today. Did we get Andrew Tate?
Fresh out of Ukrainian
Do
prison.
people compare you to Andrew Tate now?
Somebody said that to me the other day. I have no idea who that was until I found him. I'm not, you could call me a liar, whatever. I'm not on social media as enough to know a lot of these people, especially if they're post-COVID channels. You guys are pre-COVID. You guys were talking about stuff way before all these new heroes came along.
I wish that was true. I wish that was true. We were born
at the time. We were at the time
of COVID.
Yep.
Yeah. But you didn't build your channel to post things and look like a hero, or you actually, you guys were
far
actually
from
talking.
heroes. We're far
trying to
from
look
heroes.
Yeah, we're trying to look like, just like we're not idiots, basically.
It's an uphill battle.
It's like a lot of work.
It's an uphill battle over here.
Well,
yeah.
In case it
you look
isn't
good, Mike. You
obvious,
look. I like the look.
Mike
I think what Darryl was trying to compliment you, Mike.
No, I get it. That's good.
You look good.
Yeah. Because
bro,
somebody
a comparison to Andrew Tate. That's like I love that guy. That guy is like a bloody genius, man. That guy is changing the world.
So somebody mentioned that, and I didn't know who he was until I was on Rumble, and then I watched one of my videos and kind of like to kind of critique, like, what am I saying here? What was I saying? So Rumble ported over some of my videos from 5 years ago. So I'm watching a video from 5 years ago about, talking about, inflation, and if wages are not keeping up with inflation and blah, blah, blah. And the video ended, and then it went into a video that Rumble's promoting. And it was that guy you were talking about.
Andrew Tate, that guy.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Well, who did I compare him to last time? Alex Jones. Look at how highly I think of Mr. Mike Martins here. Alex Jones and Andrew Tate, direct comparisons. Look at you. And I mean, I feel like your channel's suppressed, don't you? Like, I feel like I see you got all these subscribers and your view counts are like, I would think a guy that's, saying the stuff you say and doing the service you're doing for the public would get way more attention.
I've already been
holding you down.
I've already been told that my channel's on. I've been told by multiple platforms. I was already kicked off a Rumble once, so. And
they're watching you.
The life of
they don't like the truth. We were just talking about this before we brought you on, Mike. Is that the courage it takes for somebody to speak against the narrative, is rare.
Never mind the narrative, but never mind the merit. Never mind that. We were predicting. We were doing prediction shows on our channel. We were telling you guys, like, not you guys, but everybody in 2019, they're going to pull the trigger on the pandemic. So I found 2 videos from 2019 where I said they're going to do that because we painted ourselves into an economic corner and there's no more confidence in governments. And no one, and the whole world was protesting in 2019. This is just me saying, and they're going to pull the trigger on the pandemic.
Where did you hear that it was going to be a pandemic then? Like, what the fuck?
I just made that up. You can watch the video. It's months
before. You made it up?
Well, I made up
like
the
it came
idea
to you?
I made up the idea because there's no other way they could paint this into any other corner unless they.
That's what you came up with. Like, you took this whole scenario and you said the only way out is a pandemic.
Yes. Do you want to see the video?
No, I believe you, but yes, I do want to see the video, but not right now. But yes, I want to post. That's amazing. I'm going to put something here, hopefully.
Yeah,
probably not.
Mike's video.
I would like to see that.
So the video, the raw video is up still, timestamped. I think September of 2019.
Yes.
And I don't talk around a pandemic. I say there's something real big happening. It's either going to be a real hot war they're going to pull us into and take a percentage of us, or they're going to pull the trigger on a pandemic.
So hold on a sec. Because it's the Canadian Real Estate Show, we're going to try and keep things kind of tied to real estate. But hold on a sec. I want to ask you, like, did you know? Because I don't know anybody and I don't remember. I mean, I've been following you for years. I don't remember what you said, but like when the pandemic did hit, were you like, prices are going to go to the moon? Like, did you know this?
No, I didn't know about prices going to the moon. I thought we're going to go through
deep depression, right?
A repair scenario. Yeah.
Repair. I've never heard that before. Repair,
prices are going to correct because obviously when people can't go to work, they can't pay their bills, right? So
that's what you think, right?
Yeah. That's
everyone
what you
thought that.
Yeah.
But but what most people, I think, didn't forecast is the extraordinary amount of money printing, right?
Oh,
like that's the difference, no?
The money printing was so So it's like the printers couldn't keep up, right? And that's why they need to go digital, so they could just create money on a which they do out of debt. Of course, we know this already, but basic debt structure. But
The
creation of
printers
money.
couldn't keep up, TK.
I think that they didn't have enough zeros.
They
That's what
had to
happened.
make it digital
They're
because
like,
the printers
these numbers
couldn't
aren't
print it.
getting big enough.
That's
These
crazy.
spreadsheets don't fit all these zeros.
I never thought of that before, but seriously, I mean, there probably isn't a printer that could keep up right now with the amount of money that got
They
printed.
don't. We
in the
know
last
that they're
few
not
years.
actually printing any money.
No, but I
There's
know that. But even
there's
if they
no-
wanted to, like, they had to come up. They
No.
probably knew that.
not
they
even the printer, but the material. They don't even have the paper to print it on.
don't even have the paper to
No.
print it on.
They don't even have the paper to print it
Do you
on.
think they knew at, like, I don't know, in 2000 that there'd be this big event where they'd have to print all this money, and that's why things started going more digital with banking?
Well, digital money printing is a must now for most governments and government for governance, because governments are having a tough time paying the public servants. And if you get rid of the private sector, like myself, I have a little toy store and I'm getting hammered to death. I haven't paid myself. Well, I started paying myself a few months ago, but I didn't pay myself for 2 years because I couldn't afford to pay myself and keep my business open. So, but the public servants are fighting for tooth and nail for 15, 20, 30% right now in Canada. They're in their second day of public service strikes.
Mhm.
Now, they have to make that kind of money because they are basically having to, they're living this very mediocre median household, average Canadian life that we lived back in 82 and 84 and 89, but they still want to maintain that lifestyle, but it's just unobtainable. It's prohibitively expensive to live a basic lifestyle in Canada anymore. It's prohibitively expensive. And I've been seeing it locally, and it's very heartbreaking what I've been seeing locally. And I'm getting reports from other people is that the lineup usage at food banks is horrendous. Horrendous. And I'm not talking about homeless people in the lineups. I'm going by and checking out the lineup. I'm seeing people that work in the public sector. I'm seeing truck drivers. I'm seeing people like full-time workers. And the lineup, guys, I thought the lineup was for the bank to open. I was wrong.
For a
It was
concert?
actually for the food bank.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Where's this?
In my little town of Merritt, it's the food bank's open, mind you, 2 days or 3 days of the week. So, and you would think, 2-3 days of the week, but I guess they amalgamate everybody on those 2-3 days so the lineups get big. So, but then I'm getting reports from Chilliwack, Vancouver, Abbotsford, Surrey. The food bank lineups are going like stretching a block and a half.
What's the homeless problem like in Vancouver? Have you seen it firsthand? Like, I've seen videos. And
I lived in Vancouver. Yeah, I lived in Vancouver, and I have a lot of videos still on my channel from 7, 8, 9 years ago when I lived there. We did a Vancouver is Dying little segment series back, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. And then we did BC is Dying. And now that they've legalized all the hard drugs, it's crazy, guys.
It's gotta be so crazy. They legalized like heroin, no?
I think
Can
it
I
was
tell
like
you-
they
What's
said
going
basically,
on here?
in BC, or is it just in Vancouver? What is it?
British Columbia did, and Ontario is doing it in the next
What
week
the
or
fuck?
two.
You see,
Hmm.
weed is a gateway drug. Like, they open up with the weed, and next thing you know, heroin's legal everywhere. What's going on in this country?
D, I got a story I want to share with you. You're gonna like. This is up D's alley story. Okay.
All right. All right.
I'm opening up my door, my store, in the front door. I'm just getting my stuff. I have a few things with me. A guy in a very pimped out SUV slows his vehicle down, rolls his windows down, and he says, "Hey," and he's with a good looking woman beside him, and he says to me, "Hey, where can I get some blow?" And I'm like,
What?
I don't know. He's, "Come on, it's legal now. You could tell me. Give me a number." I'm like, I don't do drugs. So I'm opening so he stood there, double parked in traffic, say, "Come on, give me a number, man." And then I'm like, I don't know anybody. I don't do drugs. So then the guy sped away and peeled out his tires.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's going on?
True
TK?
story, Daryl. Why was that up Daryl's alley? Just
Why?
so I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to.
What?
I just want to know
What does Mike know about me?
because he drove
I'm
he
just
drove a
joking,
nice car.
guys.
That's what it was. He drove
Was
a nice
it the
car. So
peeling off like an asshole part?
Yeah.
Good looking
What?
woman.
Good looking
good-looking woman.
All right.
There you go. All right.
Thank
There,
you.
fair enough.
I'll live with
Touche,
that.
touche.
I'm good
Yep.
with that. Thank you.
So, Mike, we want to know, like, What else have you been saying? Because it's been a while since we talked to you. So what else has started to happen now with the economy and with the markets that you've been talking about for a long time that maybe we haven't touched on?
So I've been I mean, I have a thing on YouTube is kind of nice in a way because they still have that magnifying glass up. So you could go to the magnifying glass and search across a channel. And when you go to my channel and you search across inflation, the stuff I was talking about 8, 9, 10 years ago is horrendous. The food hauls I was bringing in I couldn't believe what we were already paying for food. And then there's one video on there that really stuck out to me that really got to me, and it really played me hard, was for the longest time in early 2010, 11, and 12, the reason why the price of food was skyrocketing was because the price of oil was going over $100, $120 a barrel. So they had to obviously tell people the price of transporting the food, producing the food, manufacturing, and all logistics is going to go up because oil's going up. And generally speaking, you would say, yeah, you know what, they're right. Yeah, the price of oil's going up. But then a few months after, I got the video up on around that date when it happened, the price of oil almost hits $20 a barrel, but the price of food still kept going up. So they couldn't use that narrative of price of oil keeps going up, so food needs to go up. So they've been hitting us hard with food for a long time. And that's something I've been seeing. And I keep saying in some of the videos, I've been saying wages need to keep up with inflation, and wages were not keeping up. And private sector is having a tough time because to pay the public sector or public servants, you need to tax more of the private sector. Now, this is very interesting. In 2021, 2022, you could reference it, don't quote me on it, but of 2021-22, Canada created a couple of 100,000. I think you guys referenced this on your channel too. A couple of 100,000 jobs, but they were all public sector jobs.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say before, is like, not only do you have this public sector on strike looking for like 20% plus more in their salaries, but you have like 20% more of them looking for 20% more, right? It's
why do major hiring boom.
And why? Like, we hired all kinds of people so they could go work from home and pretend to work, and now we're going to pay them even more money to not even do a commute, to not even need a vehicle, right? Yep. To not come into the office and not to do anything. Like, TK, I don't know about you, Mike, definitely not you, but like, you go into Scarborough City Hall right now, it's a ghost town. Nobody works there.
Nobody's there.
Nobody is in there. There's like a security guard,
a phone number,
and people walking around, and nobody knows what to do. And not that, like, the grass is overgrown, the concrete's all cracked. It looks like apocalyptic, right? But and meanwhile, like, they're on strike because they need better conditions, I guess, to work in than their living room. Like, what do we have to do?
They don't want to be forced back to work.
We got to buy them.
The main point is that they don't want to come back into the office. They want to stay from home. Just quickly before we go too far into other stuff, Mike, what is the reason that food prices are going up? Tell me.
Well, because I could bring it up here on it's in one of my titles. Actually, bring it up, and it was
no, we don't share screens anymore. It's too much editing for that.
It's not because of the price of oil.
Well, we know it's not because of the price of oil, because they bamboozled us 10 years ago on that.
So you think that these are just the companies who are just marking up the prices?
I really don't think so, guys. I really don't think it's the companies. No, because I've been
layers of companies, like layer of company on top of company.
Well, you got to remember that these people working at these food stores are not getting minimum wage. They're getting $5 to $10 above minimum wage, right? And when you're paying a private sector worker $20 to $30 an hour to work, you got to remember you have to make your company deductions through them for their CPP, IUI, and unemployment. So when you hire somebody for $20 an hour, you're realistically paying them $29 or $34 an hour, depending.
But where is this? So you're talking at the grocery store level?
Grocery store level.
But is this where the prices are jumping? Or I don't even know the research on this. But what
I would
about,
say,
like,
logistics?
The manufacturers and the logistics, like, where are the prices jumping?
I would say in freight brokers. And I got word from Junkyard Dog, who comes on Mike in the Night, and he told me that freight brokers are ripping off the truck drivers and pocketing a lot more money than they should be for freight deliveries. We're talking huge. They used to pay, I think, $2 or $3 a mile. Now that they don't even want to pay that anymore. And there's all these freight brokers that are pocketing the surplus. And when we talk about surplus, We're talking about they're pocketing an extra $8,000 to $11,000 per load.
Wait till they have the autonomous Tesla trucks.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So now we're getting deep here. Yeah.
Right.
So when they get the self-driving stuff, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting corner to hit or see how things, we're hitting corner. Okay, well, let's just use the metaphor
to hit. Yeah.
We're hitting a corner everywhere we go. We don't know what's coming up the other street. We're just walking, living our lives, and then boom, the price of food goes up. But price of food needs to go up because I made a video that I got a lot of shellac off. And that video is called, What If the Price of Gas, Food, and Basic Amenities came to a level of where housing is? So, because housing is so severely overinflated that what if food, gasoline, and everything actually went into level with the price of housing?
They're equally as important.
Right. But let's say like they came down, I call it down to earth.
Society would collapse.
Yes. And that's what we're seeing right now. And that's why we're seeing this public service strike is because I don't think these people, okay, they want more money, but I think they're realizing living the 1986 Canadian dream is becoming prohibitively expensive.
Or a nightmare.
Yeah. And we have to make this clear for people watching in the United States.
A folktale.
Yeah. And we got to make this very clear because I was going to go, because I'm kind of sad and you guys don't share the screens anymore, because I was going to go into Darryl's favorite part of the show of what you could buy in America for 40 grand. And the pricing of the housing here that I have up for you guys, a lot of the houses we saw on your show, you were saying you can't even build it for that much. I'm looking at
40 grand is the lumber in Toronto for
it's
a
just
house.
to connect to the sewer if the sewer is already there.
Yeah. So now I'm looking at homes right now in front of me that Civil War type homes with pillars on front of them, look like the White House, 229, 5 bedrooms, 4,000 square feet, quarter-acre of land, freehold property. It's just nonstop. Like what I have in front of me here is just the complete manor. There's a manor, 155, 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, $2,429. 2,429 square feet.
So right now, Mike, we've had we'll get to that. I want to just kind of keep us onto this because I want to make sure that people understand a lot of the things that you've been talking about in the past are all starting now to ring true. Inflation as a whole. I mean, I didn't even think about the word inflation. I knew what it was, and I knew that the 2% rate was something that you should always sort of attribute to like an annual increase. But like, if you've been talking about it for years,
yes,
you thought that inflation would get out of control.
I knew inflation was going to get out of control. And in 2016, there's a video. Again, you go through the channel and you'll see it. It says rates need to be 9% by 2022.
Rates need to be 9%
by 2022.
When did you put that
inflation, up? In 2017, you'll see it on the channel.
Because of inflation getting out of control, right?
And then I went through the graphs and I'm not just talking, hey, my name is no. Here's the graph. This is where we are.
Why doesn't he get 100,000 views per fucking episode, TK? I don't understand. I'm not even joking.
Shadow banning.
Like, I'm really not even joking.
No, the video's up, and then and that one I went in. I think I even have the thimble that I made for it. I was going through it and I was looking at that, and then I didn't know about that video for a while. I made the video, but I forgot about it. And then one of my viewers searched across my channel and typed in rates. And he found that video and he's like, Mike, did you see this video? He said, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, because we need to hedge against inflation, because if we don't raise rates, price of food will be out of reach. And we were already predicting in 2017, 2018, 2019.
But they started raising, right? Didn't they start raising rates in 2017? Isn't that why the market kind of slowed down?
Yes, then they pivoted. They pivoted.
Rates. Yeah.
And they lowered rates, and then they pulled the trigger on the pandemic.
And then the pandemic hit and they dropped their pants.
Why did they pull the trigger on the pandemic, Mike?
There was no confidence. There was no confidence in governments. The whole world was protesting. You could watch those old Mike in the Nights where we had callers in from Chile, Iran, Hong Kong protests were going for 40 weeks. The Gilets de Jaunes in France was going for 80 weeks. The whole world was protesting no confidence in government.
What does the pandemic do? I don't get it. I'm just trying to explain to me like I'm a child here. Well, why is the pandemic going to control those things?
Well, everybody was no confidence in governments.
Okay.
And governments wanted to keep their power. Look, everybody was protesting already 70, 80 weeks in France for Macron. We don't want Macron. We want him out. Guess who just got reelected 6 months ago for France?
Yeah. Mr. Macron with his watch.
Yes. And the pandemic worked by shutting it down, creating the fear, and creating the control mechanism. That
diversion.
Yeah.
big fucking diversion.
Yes.
So it's a distraction for them to be able to say, oh my gosh,
And
the
a
government's not working for
precursor.
me. But now, in order to keep me and my family safe, we're going to, be under their control and guidance. Thank God for the government.
Yes.
They're going to save
Did the
us.
government know that the inflation was going to come?
They knew already. They knew back in 2010, especially in Canada. In 2011, 2012, they were calling Canada banking system the Great White Short. And right now, TD Bank is the most shorted bank in all of North America. It has more shorts on it. You can look it up. It's the most shorted bank is TD Bank, and their sheet is terrible. But what people need to know is that taxpayers are just going to bail them out.
Right. That's what we were talking about. When were we talking about that?
2 weeks ago.
We've been talking about it.
No, but we just had the conversation where it's like,
yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
Well, maybe it wasn't with you, but I was just talking about this yesterday. It's like, if you were in the casino, right?
Mhm.
And you knew that when you walked out, they would give you what you just lost, you would behave differently, right? And so this is the housing market, right? This is the banks. It's like, it's very clear that it's like, just keep lending. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together, right? We'll all figure this mess out together. I don't know why this mess started, but we'll figure it out for you.
So the government knew that inflation was there. Okay. I'm just walking you through this.
Hold
So
on. I'm going to give you, let's go back to let's touch on a bit of food right now, real quick.
Food. Okay.
Now,
Food.
2019.
Yep.
2019 was the lineup to the food bank. Texas, Houston, Dallas, parts of Alabama, parts of all over Florida. We were seeing helicopter and drone views of lineups of people for food banks in 2019, right? And we made a video. I think it was 2019 or 2018. Don't quote me on the year, but we made a video that London, England had more food banks than they had Burger Kings, McDonald's, like 4 different fast food chain restaurants. It's in the video. We explain it, right? And we show the articles. They had more food banks in London, England already than fast food joints because people needed food. Yeah. So this was already happening from food perspective, inflation perspective, government losing grip, and people with no confidence, right? And it's very that Mike of the Night and those Mike of the Nights back in 2019, it was getting so hectic because we didn't know what they were going to do. I was throwing everything at it. It was like, governments just can't keep a grip anymore. And and you know what the West was, guys, are you ready for this? You know what the Western media was flipping it as?
Are we ready for this, TK?
I don't know. Should we guess it? No,
you please.
I can't remember yesterday, let alone 2019.
Go ahead, Mike. Tell us. What is it?
Climate change.
Oh, that would have been a good guess too.
I never would have guessed climate change.
They were protesting climate change. The world was in shambles. Haiti ousted their leader. All these countries were ousting their leaders with no confidence, and the protests was just so overwhelming all over the world. And the Mike of the Night, I think the episode was called "As the World Burns." I think it was 228. And every image that we had from Chile, Argentina, Iran, Russia, wherever, there's just vehicles burning everywhere. And
you could make that again now, couldn't you?
Well, 2023 was the year of the protest, the other things, right? Went on.
Protest, no, that was 2020.
2022? Or year of the protest? 2021?
2021.
It's
one of those years.
But, so hold on. What about all these like fires in like poultry plants?
Yeah, that's food invasion. So we call
who's doing it though? Who's
food wars?
Who's at war?
Competitors?
I don't think it's
countries.
I think again, it goes back to government because
tree huggers.
Competitors, there's enough people to feed out there, folks. There's not enough food processing plants to start already with the growing population. So,
but haven't a lot been like attacked recently? Like in the last couple of months, a lot of them have had. First, they had like all kinds of disease, and then they were all exploding or catching on fire. Wasn't there like 140,000 cows or something that just burned
in Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fuck! I never heard that before. Did you?
And the arson specialist that went there said there's nothing incineratable that could have. There's nothing for it to be that big. There had to be something put there for it to burn.
Do you think the government's involved though? Like, is this something that the
government's always involved? Government's always involved.
So this is another control thing.
Yeah, government's always.
Food shortages are a control point.
Exactly. The shortages. And in 2020, I was telling people that the big box stores are going to become federalized as more and more Walmarts are closing in Oregon and Seattle and all these other places.
Mhm.
The government's going to swoop in and say, oh, don't worry about these big corporate entities. Trust your government. We have now a food center for you and your family to go shop at, because it's going to be prohibitively expensive for you to open a big box store, and it's going to be prohibitively expensive to bring in stuff, because they're going to federalize the logistics, because they're pushing towards federalization of transport, of all transport. So
what does that mean? What does that mean? Like all the shipping, like the ships and the trains and the trucks?
They made a point of it when they closed the dock in California, and they had those big shipping issues, remember? And everything was backing up, and none of the trucks were getting anything. And now with my friend, again, talking to freight brokers, and he's calling in jobs. Okay, what's this job to Tennessee? What's it paying? It's like, forget it. So they're going to make it collapse as more and more trucking companies, you can look it up, in the last year alone are folded, maybe 28, 29, maybe 30 now.
Why?
Trucking companies have folded. They can't afford to maintain. It's too expensive. Right. And then the price of fuel going up is making it harder. So this is a great way for the government to say, hey, guess what, guys? We're going to save you again. We're going to start. It might start as a small government run transport company. It might start small like that, and then buying up all the other transport companies. And that's just
this
something
sounds counterintuitive. Like I would think
it always is when it's government.
Right. Why the fuck?
So far, the government doesn't seem to get involved in anything that goes well, right?
No, but they seem to be privatizing more. Like, isn't the trend privatizing?
Well, in Ontario, it is. I mean, Doug Ford government, that's been something that he's been leaning towards that people are against. But I definitely think that that's a common theme. I don't study American politics or anything like that, but I do feel like Americans are much more privatized than Canadians.
Hold on. So is this a control mechanism also to control the flow of the goods? Like why the fuck does the government? Yeah. Is that what it is? Like, it's not a cost thing. It's not a
cost the government
money making thing. It doesn't sound like.
No. Let's come home now. Let's come to my personal problem that I have. Okay. It's prohibitively expensive for me to ship a board game. So I'm working with other shipping companies. So they've raised the price of shipping. So now let's look at this. Canada Post, FedEx, all the ones in Canada, they're all federalized through the government. The Canadian government. So they have like a list of things they need to do to be allowed in Canada. So they're not free roaming here and doing what they want. They actually have to report to the big man, the government. So Canada Post is in my town. So I don't have a FedEx. I don't have anything else. So for me to ship a board game to Vancouver, which is 3-hour drive, would cost me about $56. Okay.
That's prohibitive.
For me to ship that board game from Washington State on the Canadian border, let's say in Blaine, Washington, or some Blair or whatever, Washington State border to Key West, Florida, $18. And Key West, Florida is 5,000 miles away. And it will cost
just a normal person, like
a board game, to ship a board game.
And what costs you $50 to ship from there to there costs Amazon $4.
Yeah. So for me to ship from where I am to Vancouver's 3 hours, $58. I waited. I got the postal code, and then for me to ship it from the Washington State border to Key West, Florida on Roosevelt Boulevard, $18, $13, $12.
Even that's a lot of money, though.
Amazon's got a lot of solutions, right? Like what Darryl just mentioned there. I mean, the food obstacles you said has nothing to do with the big corporations. It has more to do with the freight brokers and stuff like that. I mean, Amazon seems to be able to be really good at logistics, and now their Amazon stores that they've got open in a few locations are, employee free, right? I mean, that's pretty neat, right? So you're saving the money on, staff, and then obviously the logistics of everything else too. I think Amazon should be.
Amazon is tied in over with the government though on some pretty deep levels.
Just give Amazon everything.
Well, maybe that is what's happening.
That's the answer,
Well, but maybe that's what's happening.
Yeah, the guys who deliver, like the people who are delivering Amazon and stuff like that, like it's perfect. It's kind of like Uber Eats,
They're going to have to get chips soon. The guys that are delivering before. Like, actually, no, they won't.
How are you? Sometimes it's like people I know and they text me and they're like, hey, TK, I got a package for you and I'm going to drop it off. Like, are you home? That's literally the service I've been getting lately sometimes. Hey?
I feel like there's a guy at my door like every 10 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, it's taken away from the private mom and pops businesses, and that's destroying. And I don't mind that, and I don't mind that competition. But what bothers me is I have 2,000 items in my store that you can't find at Walmart or anywhere else. You have to go online. So a lot of people come in and use my store as a catalog, take photos, and then go buy on eBay or Amazon after they realize its existence.
You got to tell them to put their cell phones in the basket before they are allowed in the store.
Yeah. So people come in, take photos, and then they just go buy it online. But they didn't know the existence of a product. Do you know 2,000 board games off the top of your head?
No.
So people come in, I give them suggestions on what they've played already. And then what they've played, I could kind of look at what they might like. And then they just take a picture and then they just go buy it online. And I don't get no percentage from Amazon from that because I made that sale for them, because without me showing them this product, they wouldn't have made the sale.
I think that's probably just part of that type of retail setup, is that you will be competing with Amazon at any day of the week, and that, you know, your only real reality is to try to bring more people into your store, so that the people who want it right now, well, they'll have to buy it off you.
Well,
they'll have no choice, because they're already there.
Yeah, or you have to realize that, like, you're up against Goliath, and maybe you just, you know, I'm not saying you in particular, like
those issues. Yeah.
People that go into like mom and pop retail now are either extraordinarily brave or crazy, because the cards are so stacked against you right now that, like, a physical retail store is almost impossible to start right now. Like rents alone, like, can you imagine, like, I don't know what rents are like where you are, but like to have a board game store in Toronto, how many board games you would have to sell just to pay rent, let alone like insurance and gas and hydro and people and internet, and, you know, like, how the fuck do any of these businesses survive?
Exactly, any of them. So I got a place in the beaches for sale, and the rent and the business and like, you look at it and you're just like, man, like, you got to really believe in those hamburgers you're selling, you know what I mean? Like, you got to really, really, really feel like what you're doing is special, because it's tough. Every month is going to be tough.
Meanwhile, they pop up every 10 seconds. There's a smash burger this, or a burger this, or a burger that. And it's like, don't they know? Don't they know, like, that eventually they're just fucking dead? Because they can't. You can't. It's like, is somebody ever gonna open up? Like, was Rona ever gonna beat Home Depot? Like, Rona's just gonna disappear at some point, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
there's a big transaction. Lowe's bought Rona,
or Lowe's or whatever.
Lowe's just sold Rona to an investment company, something like that.
But then I guess all of a sudden you get like a Chat GPT that might overtake Google. So, right? Like, all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, there's a better Home Depot, or there's a right, mom and pop retail. There's a way to make it work. I mean, I got to think that a small little store that's very cheap with a big internet presence and like maybe a decent little warehouse behind it is a good formula for retail now.
I think there's downward pressure on rents though in retail.
But how really?
Right? But I think there's got to be. There's a lot of vacancies. A lot of the buildings that I'm looking at that have commercial units in them are trading a lot higher cap rates. They're much harder to sell. There's a lot of vacancies. One building I just sold, they converted 2 of the 3 commercial units to residential because they just couldn't keep tenants in there. So there is downward pressure, I think, on retail. Space.
Yeah, retail is gonna be a retail. I was gonna, if you guys were gonna ask me about predictions or what I feel,
tell us.
At the end of the show, I would have said we're gonna see it's called the retail apocalypse, and we're seeing it now. It's fracturing in lots of major cities in the United States, where they're either being robbed to death by, you know, or violence, or what's happening is they getting taxed to death. In Canada, I see more of the taxation and rents going up, and the cost of operating a business be prohibitively expensive, private sector. And yes, retail apocalypse is massive. I think it's going to be massive.
We've been hearing retail apocalypse for a few years, I think.
We have. Yes, we have.
And so what is the retail? What do you see as happening for this? Like, what is the retail
Well,
apocalypse?
it's already happening in some parts already, and I'm getting reports from all over, from Alberta, from Manitoba. Empty malls are starting. It starts with the empty mall syndrome. Empty mall syndrome starts. Once that starts to take off, and people stop going to malls, they don't go to strip malls as much anymore either, because the attraction's at the mall, right? The water fountain, the homeless guy by the telephone asking for change. It's kind of like a routine at the mall, the shoe store, the this, the that, and everybody's so excited. But when malls turn empty and the attraction is gone, yeah, there's a guy on YouTube that has a channel where all he does is just show empty malls across America, thousands of them.
Yeah,
the guy that's pretending like he's in the future.
Not that one. I know what you're talking about. No,
every mall in Toronto has got
application
for condos. Yeah, every one of them, because
they need to offset with condos.
They're sitting on this amazing land, and all of them have retail worked into it. But I imagine if you calculated the gross leasable square footage of the existing mall and what's going to be leased out afterwards in this new development, it would be like a quarter.
Quarter of the retail?
Yeah.
Oh, I would imagine that there'd probably be similar amount of retail, but a whole bunch of customers living above it.
That would make sense. But I imagine that they're looking at this as a, how do we get rid of commercial retail space? That would be my theory.
That will add to retail apocalypse too. There's lots of working, lots of moving parts here, folks.
Right? Because the times are changing too, Darryl, because this whole Amazon sort of trend here. So I think that they will be looking at those type of things, saying, do we really need, like, Amazon has got a store now in the mall just for you to go and pick up your package from, like there's no, like that, there's no need necessarily for, obviously we watched, who was the first one? My generation, the first one would have been Simpsons. That would have been the first one to go down. And then obviously you got like,
my dad used to work there. My dad used to work.
Right, my uncle used to work there too. Yeah.
Eaton Center.
Eaton Center's still there.
No, but didn't they go?
You're talking about Eaton's, yeah.
Eaton's went out, yeah, but the
Eaton's went down.
Okay, no,
Sears, Zellers,
Kmart, right?
Do you remember Byway?
Bargain
Herald's. I'm friends with the guy, Bargain Herald's son.
Yeah, these were like everywhere. Like you had a store on every major intersection.
Okay, are you guys old enough to remember Towers?
No.
What's Towers? Probably old enough, but
Kresge's.
What?
Kresge's? No.
Kresge's.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Darryl's older than you, Mike. No?
Am I? How old are you, Mike?
How old are you, Mike?
I'm 45.
Oh, okay. I am older than you.
Oh, there you go.
But I don't know what the hell you're talking about, which is nothing new.
Kresge's used to always be beside the byways.
Kresge's. I mean, it sounds kind of familiar, but it isn't. So, okay, hold on a sec. How do we get back to real estate here, TK?
Let's get back to
real estate. Let's talk about the future of real estate now for the next 15 minutes to close out the show. Where do we go? What do you see based on where we are now? I mean, you got to put into your model now that they're going to just print a bunch of money, don't you?
100%.
Like, you can't leave that out anymore, right?
100%. And they're gonna flood the country with more and more immigrants to
So knowing that those two things are baked into the cake, right? Now, are we gonna put in, okay, while we're making this cake, TK, are you ready to bake?
Yep.
I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, and I hope I don't take us on a wild tangent here, but I may. Do we have a little invasion of Taiwan in the cake?
I heard that semiconductor factory there was, pretty
valuable.
Important,
yeah.
Pretty important.
Do you want to go there, Mike?
Infrastructure.
Yeah, we'll check the video I made out 2 weeks ago. Semiconductor wars ahead.
Yes,
and
of course you did.
And it's something that the whole works of Taiwan, it's already, like you said earlier, baked in the cake. The whole Taiwan thing is another distraction they could throw out there.
Not real estate related, obviously, Darryl. Way to go.
It prints it prints money though. When you go to war, money starts printing. I hate to break it to you. And the economy starts looking okay. So having said that, these are some of the ingredients in the cake, plus all the other ones we know about. What happens next around here? Let's say medium term.
Medium term, I would see a lot of people in fear of jumping onto anything right now.
What does that mean, jumping onto anything?
buying,
like a
jumping
house.
Getting into anything, even though the prices are still are starting to pivot and go up again. And mayors can't afford to live in their own cities anymore. That article. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to start to see people be a little bit more cautious with borrowing and over leveraging and taking on too much debt. I think people are going to,
because they want to, or because they have to.
I think a lot of people are going to start to, I don't know how to say it, become more minimalists. And start to, like, you know what?
Because they want to, or because they have to?
They have to.
But there's gonna be better choices made, and people don't understand how valuable
you change it. It's like, I don't really want that.
This is the best thing that somebody in their 20s could ask for. This is the best environment for somebody to be growing up and learning.
Being a cheapskate is cool.
Absolutely, to realize, like, you know, and then
I don't need that shit.
Course, and of course, in 10 years from now, when things relax and, you know, rates can come back down and people's, you know, situations will get a little bit better. Hopefully there's some deflationary pressures that'll put prices back in line with incomes, and we can get back on track to where we should be. But it's like the best thing that someone could ask for. I grew up in this environment. This has been my whole life. I mean, my whole adult life has been in this inflationary environment where it's like you can borrow your way into any situation or borrow your way out of any problem. And you can be able to do anything you need to do, because there's always going to be a factor that's going to bail you out. And screw up as much as you want, you still get another chance. Like, it's not a very healthy environment for people to grow up. People really should be focusing on a more conservative type of spending lifestyle. And unfortunately, we've been groomed to
it doesn't work with, but it doesn't work with the version of capitalism that currently exists. You can't slow down and it work, right? It's like slow down equals breaking, right? So it's either like continuous growth and try and like minimize the spikes and the crashes, right? Or like a whole new system, right? Because slowdowns just break the whole thing.
Well, a new system would be very simple. Tie private sector incomes to real estate prices. Problem solved. Because if
how do you do
like
that?
The screen I have open here, a lot of the red states of America, money laundering and all this stuff is outlawed. So you get caught in some states money laundering, you'll go to jail. And if you can't prove that money you're buying that house with. So I have it open here on Zillow, and I'm not joking with you guys. I'm looking at houses. We have another 700 new postings in this week alone on homes under $200,000. And these are dream homes. And these are not even starter homes. These are like semi-McMansions, 7-8 bedroom homes, 7 bedrooms, 3 baths, 6,900 square feet.
Where are these?
This one's just out of Mobile, Alabama. This one's in Colbert, Georgia.
Yeah. Who wants to live there?
Oh, I would live there, and I would live in the South. I would love to live in. I've lived in the South for years. I lived in Florida for years.
Really?
And I would love to.
So what's stopping you?
They wouldn't give me citizenship. I applied. I got a company to sponsor me. I got a corporation to sponsor me. I got everything in line. I made sure I wasn't stealing an American's job. I had to apply for that.
Why wouldn't you just go through the Mexican border?
Right. There's that way, and you get in pretty much right away, and they give you a phone and a plane ticket.
But unfortunately,
in a hotel room.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no. I did everything by the book, and they wouldn't. They denied me. They told me to try again in 5 years. So,
So are you going to try again?
Nope.
No, fuck them, right?
No. So I see right now, as we are talking, American real estate right now is starting to tank horrendously, big time.
Tank horrendously.
Yeah, right. If you saw the houses I'm seeing here for 130 grand,
I saw the biggest month.
But hold on a sec.
Decline they've had in a while. Yeah.
So as we're like, all the things that we are trying to bake into this cake are definitely inflationary, right? Mm-hmm. And when inflation happens, does the economy crash?
Well, again, we talked about this on your show a year ago, where we might start to see hyperinflationary territory.
Hyperinflation. But
inflation is trending the other way now.
Yeah.
This is all fucking crazy, isn't it?
How do we say hyperinflation if it's trending down?
It's trending. Well,
it's
because
trending
I think there's another leg.
Heading towards a recession as opposed to hyperinflation, that we're heading towards like something that's going to be a bigger issue, that we're going to start facing deflationary pressures.
Well, if
nobody has money to spend anymore.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking, well, in some parts of the world, you start to see governments losing grip and just adding zeros to their money. And that's something that happens in and around this kind of time we're in right now. Like you said, it's very interesting time to be alive. Now, hold on. Australia down under is having a great time. They had 10 rate hikes and they paused it, and they might have another 2 more rate hikes. And so many people are down 20, 30 points right now on their investment of last 5 to 6 years. So now in Australia, they're looking at homes that were purchased 8 years ago. How much did you put down? Did you use your home as an ATM machine? Because now you might be affected today. So there are 10 rate hikes in right now.
So hold on. So what does this mean for the Canadian real estate market midterm? Are we going up or down?
This up that we're seeing in some cities, maybe a massive melt up. It could be that. It could be a massive calm before the storm, the melt up, the confidence looks like it's coming back. Everyone's feeling more confident, and then things start to go bad real quick, especially
Well, but the states, like we're drawing comparisons to the states, but I don't think that their housing market is quite as important to their overall economy as ours is to ours.
Thank you. Ours is too heavily dependent on our economy, and GDP and all that stuff is so heavily dependent. Canada, like Steve Saretsky said when he came on Trends in the Housing Market on my show, he said,
you had Steve Saretsky on your show?
Yeah, on Trends. I had him 2 times.
No way, he came on your show. That's
nobody knows me, dude. Once. Come on, nobody knows me.
That's great.
So, anyways, so he says Canada's just exporting homes to China because he lives in the Vancouver area. I was living there too, and the tower I lived in a tower with 380 units, and there was only 4 people living in the whole tower.
What?
And everything was empty, and the concierge had the keys to some units. He would go and show me, hey, Mike, come and check out this unit. Open it, completely empty. And the plastic on the microwave and the counters from 14 years ago.
You gotta be kidding me. This is insanity.
Yeah.
This is insanity.
So we just had a new vacant home tax on that topic introduced in Toronto. And so now people are actually getting it. So I've got a couple clients who've had it, who didn't file their, what do they call that? Declaration, right? So they're actually getting 1% tacked on. One of them actually was exempt. They didn't need to do it, and they had a good reason for it, but I guess they didn't fill out the form properly, so they still got the tax. And there's other people who, again, qualify for the exemption, but are still getting charged with the tax. And like anything else, it's going to be now the onus is on them to file all the evidence to show why they should be exempt. And then they got to claw back that amount off there. And if you don't pay the amount, they're going to charge you that interest. And the interest, we didn't give you an exemption on the interest.
And the penalty.
The penalties and all that, we'll make sure that you don't have to pay the tax. But the interest, geez, you should have paid. Why didn't you pay? You should have refunded afterwards. So this is how it goes.
But long term, it's going to get ugly, guys. It's just not sustainable. We're very unsustainable right now.
Long term ugly. That's a different view than most people. Okay. Most people are like long Canadian real estate for sure. It's a guaranteed bet. Long term.
The food bank lineups are getting longer. Unemployment in my town, they're not getting lumber permits or something. I'm not getting into the whole politics of the lumber, but I live in a lumber town and they're not being allowed to cut. And that's all government pressure.
Not being allowed to cut?
So there's a lot of people sitting at home in my town, and there's a lot of pressures coming, external pressures, government related pressures. All they have to do is sign 3 papers and let it go. Just like they're canceling drilling permits from oil. They're destroying a lot of, again, the private sector is under attack. And we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more usage at the food bank. You're going to start to see, Canada's going to have to fill that void with bringing in a couple of 100,000, 1 million or 2 people a year to try and fill that void, to try and make up something or trying to fix a problem that's been broken on top of another broken problem, on top of another patched problem, on top of a leak, and on top of something. It just doesn't get any better.
Well, I think that everyone has got their own mind. And some of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the show, Mike, was that at the time that you were talking about inflation, nobody believed you. Nobody thought what you were saying was true. Everyone thought, what is he talking about? Inflation's 1.5%. Interest rates are record low, all these type of things. And there's been a lot of things that you said in the past that have now come true. Right.
Right.
And so today, saying these things, some of the listeners might think like, geez, there's no way that that's going to happen. There's not a chance that this is possible. But Who knows?
That's what I'm seeing, guys.
I
It's
definitely
the
don't.
playbook. It's the playbook.
Yeah.
I'm following the playbook, watching things and what's going to come next or what they're going to pull next. And you know, I've gotten bashed by a lot of people over the years for my predictions and stuff, but I've never gotten a single apology from anybody all these years. Ever. On inflation, on food, on everything we've been talking about, and incomes and the economic takeover we're seeing. I call it an economic takeover, disenfranchising the middle class, removing them basically from existence, and the end of the European expansion in Canada. And yeah, that's just me on my perspective, I guess.
Well, I want you to feel like you've got your cheers bar here where everybody knows your name, Mike, and everybody reveres you, and everybody thinks that you are doing such wonderful work.
I appreciate that.
Although I can't speak for everybody.
On behalf of the naysayers, Mike, okay?
We love you.
We're sorry for doubting your ideas.
Right.
Oh, you don't have to be sorry. You're entitled to an opinion, and you're entitled to basically.
But now you've got one apology that's in your books.
That's right. And it's on behalf of many.
But I'm speaking on behalf of them all.
That's right.
And you know, that's what it is you got to just
keep on
fighting the good fight. Fighting the good fight.
The number 2 realtor. He can do a lot of things.
I'm literally number 2 in all categories.
He's willing to admit that he's not the number 1 realtor.
I'm definitely not
number 1. That's why we love him.
But number 2, like there's a few categories that I fall under for sure.
That's a superpower.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Martins, we have learned a lot. We may not learn that it's the truth for a little bit longer, but I mean, I take what Mike says now as gospel.
There you go.
You don't want to.
I just assume it's going to happen at some point.
It's going to happen eventually.
You don't want to hear what's going to happen in 2024 and 2025. So,
well, we got 4 more minutes. So, I mean, if you can jam it into
now,
that,
you can leave us on that cliffhanger. Like
you can't do that to us.
Well, you could edit this out if you'd like. Okay.
All right.
So
we're not ensuring that it's going to stay in. Okay.
We were prophesizing in 2019 is going to be 2019, the year of the protest. Okay, let's go back to 2018. 2018, the year of the repo markets and banks not trusting each other. 2019, the year of the protest. 2020, the year of the lockdown. 2021, the year of the blood clots. 2023, the year of the coffin. And 2024 and 2025, you could edit this out, is going to be the year of government sanctioned murder. And that's going to come across as through MAID. We're seeing MAID. We're seeing all these other assisted suicides. I just had a gentleman in his 30s go fix something on his passport, and the lady working at the passport office asked the 30-year-old if he's ever considered committing suicide or MAID.
What did he go in for? What? To get
the year of the coffin? I want to know what year of the coffin means.
Dead people. He's talking about it right now. TK,
the
keep up, bro. Come on.
But the coffin?
Dead people in coffins.
In coffins.
Right?
Yeah. And
is that what you're saying, Mike, or am I making this shit up here?
No, you're not making it up. In 2024 and 2025,
I'm paying attention.
Will be the year of government sanctioned murder. Everyone could laugh at me. Everyone could laugh at me and make fun of me. And you're going to be in an government institution somewhere. You're going to hear screaming, and you're going to be like, "What's going on over there? Oh, he's a climate denier. We don't need him here."
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah.
You're going to see.
That makes sense.
Certain people. I mean, it's probably going to be a
climate denier.
Less
motherfucker, get that guy now.
Less than useful.
Get him.
But I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong, and I'm not here to be right. But I just if I am right about something, and maybe something may be exposed or something might, but the problem is no one hears anything I say anyway, so it kind of doesn't really.
We're
on this channel, at least 3,000 people will hear what you have to say, Mike. I can guarantee it.
I think more than that, but yeah, on this long version.
Just saying, yeah.
I think we're gonna break some records today, TK.
I think so too.
And what a day too, because you know what happened earlier today? This is a very monumentous day for humankind. Well, didn't you see? Starship took off and exploded this morning.
Oh, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you love him. But listen, we could talk to you all the time, but we have to get regular updates so we can gain insights when we see you and speak to you.
Well, gee, I'm on Mike in the Night. I got moved over to Rumble. I left Odyssey, but I'm on Rumble now until they kick me off, and then I'll just find another platform. But if anybody really wants to find me, realmikemartins.com.
Why are you not on TikTok? You're like, you should be, you're like the
You'd kill it.
perfect poster child
Mhm.
for TikTok. I went on your TikTok and it's like your bathroom like renovation. What are you doing, man? You are
No,
like
that's
Mr. TikTok. You'd have 1 million views a minute on TikTok.
I don't know
It's
about
not. You trust me. Trust me. Trust
He
me.
doesn't trust TikTok.
Hold on. Hold on. I know he doesn't, and I understand, but trust me. Look at me in the eyes, Mike. Look at me in the eyes.
I am.
I promise you, bro. You have been misinformed about TikTok, and it is a whole other world over there, and you will love it. You will love it. You will go down rabbit holes of your dreams like you have never been down before.
They don't want you to be on TikTok.
You will
That's why
find
they say it.
stuff that you have that you know at a deeper level, and it will be there. All the stuff that used to be on YouTube is now there. All the truth. That's why they want to get rid of it. I'm not even joking. This shit is so up your alley, bro. That is where you get your views. I promise.
Okay.
I promise. Between
Well, I
you
know
and me.
you're not
Between
I
you
know
and
you're
me,
not
bro.
lying.
No,
I know
I'm
you're not
telling you.
lying.
That is your medium. I'm telling you. But TK,
Mhm.
my bladder is full.
What a great show today.
What
Mike.
a fantastic show.
We appreciate it.
Well,
We have
thanks for
built
having
up
me
an
on.
audience for you, Mike.
Thanks
over
for
the last
joining
year
us, Mike.
that I believe is going to respond very well to this video.
Can you do me a favor and let me know when it's up so I could share it on my
Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, sure. It
Absolutely.
doesn't have to be
I will
perfect
sit-
timing.
It will be exactly
4.
that timing, bro. Like every week for 3 years.
Okay. Okay.
But I will send you the link, but that's when it will be up. And then we'll have a whole bunch of different clips episodes. Remember, TK, our clips channel for those people still watching that haven't subscribed.
Check it out.
You have a
like
clips
all
channel?
the fluff
Send me the
today
link.
and you just want the meat
I
and
will send you
potatoes.
the
Check
link.
out Canadian Real Estate Show clips.
Clips. And again, it'll probably be on the Frankfurt Report too. So check that out. And don't forget, tune in for our big surprise that TK has for us next week. Maybe if we're ready.
Next week.
You guys are welcome anytime to come on Mike in the Night if you'd like. It's open. We have open lines, so anyone could call.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks,
I forgot about that. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
Soon.